It all started on a Tuesday when Dr. Eleanor Fisk, a radio astronomer at Jodrell Bank Observatory near Macclesfield, switched the resonant aperture on for the first time. The year was 1969. Fisk had joined a small, privately funded team attempting to measure minute fluctuations in spacetime by phase-locking an array of radio dishes to the Crab Pulsar. Their instrument was crude by later standards: analog oscilloscopes, vacuum tubes, and a single reel-to-reel recorder labeled Run 24. They were looking for noise. What came back was not noise. At 02:14 GMT, the recorder captured a narrow-band return with an internal structure, tempo, and timbre that matched human speech. The lab log, signed by Fisk, reads, "Signal contains patterned phonemes, possible echo, archive to trust vault, inform university liaison." Within hours, Cambridge coroners, parish priests, and the county constabulary would all have their own annotations. The immediate effect was small and peculiar: insomnia, a low-frequency hum that made windows rattle, and a smell people described as old paper and wet wool. Then the visitations began. Mrs. Agnes Holloway, who lived in a terraced house off Mill Road, reported a man in a black coat sitting in her kitchen who had been dead 30 years. He spoke of coal smoke and the sound of a clock that didn't exist in her house. A schoolboy, Daniel Reese, found in Jesus Green the next morning, was unable to identify his mother and whispered the name of a woman from a 19th century parish register. The Cambridge Daily News ran a front-page story: "Strange Voices Plague City." By the third day, serious incidents were recorded. 4 people were found wandering outside the city limits in a state of catatonia, eyes dilated, mouths full of fragments of syllables no investigator could place. 2 people vanished from their beds. Their rooms showed no sign of forced entry, but the mattresses were warm and the blankets folded. At Addenbrooke's hospital, doctors logged cases of rapid, inexplicable fibrosis, skin and lung tissue that had hardened as if exposed to extreme cold. An inquest on a laborer named Thomas Keene noted in stark clerkly hand, "Death by unknown exposure, tissue brittle as calcified river silt." Government interest was swift and suppressive. The Ministry of Defense requisitioned Run 24 and sealed the observatory's visitor logs. A memo, later released under FOIA in the 1990s, ordered that local press be advised that events are under clinical investigation. Personnel are to be briefed on containment and silence. Dr. Fisk was offered a post at the Royal Observatory on condition she signed a non-disclosure agreement. She refused and resigned. A week after the test, Jodrell Bank's main dish was repainted, and the entire experiment was archived as terminated research projects. Eyewitness reports, vicar notes, police interviews, and a taped testimony from Sergeant Margaret Cole describe a phenomenon that reads less like conventional haunting and more like a broadcast. Faces and voices sampled from different centuries, overlapping, inserting themselves into the present. Sergeant Cole recorded seeing a procession of people dressed as if from the Merchant's Roll of 1723, walking down King's Parade as if pulled by a river current. The procession left no footprints. The town clock chimed 13 times. Scientists who later reviewed the released data proposed a chilling hypothesis. The aperture had, they suggested, phase-locked onto a coherent microstate, an ephemeral interference pattern where information from adjacent causal histories bled through, compressed into acoustic bandwidth. In plain terms, the machine had briefly tuned Cambridge to the wrong timeline and played back snippets of lives that had once been and might yet be. The horror lay not in monsters, but in recognition. Neighbors encountering deceased relatives, children hearing lullabies that predated their mothers, whole streets filled with the weight of centuries. Some recovered, many did not. Families were left with missing members, with tissues too brittle to cremate, with men who came back speaking in dialects lost to the living. Today, Run 24's reel is catalogued in a restricted archive, its waveform annotated in a handwriting that trembles. Jodrell Bank issues a placard inviting tourists to learn about radio astronomy. Locals still tell the story in whispers of a Tuesday in 1969 when a machine read the city like a phonograph and played back echoes that did not belong. belong to us. The official files close with a note that reads simply, "Do not attempt resonance within inhabited latitudes." Dr. Eleanor Fisk vanished from public life soon after. In a 1983 letter preserved by a university archivist, she wrote, "We learned that some noise should never be answered. It listens back."